Hi guys, and welcome back to the grand finals of the IM Katowice tournament held in Poland 2023 February. We have a nice international engagement in between the two pros, so let me just start by introducing them to you. As we have spawning here in the upper left in the blue, it is OLIVEIRA from China, and his opponent here in the lower right in the red, it is MARU from South Korea. Of course, a very known player to you guys. MARU considered to be currently the best Terran in the world. However, OLIVEIRA playing a very strong tournament throughout, so really a nice talented player. So an all Terran versus Terran mirror matchup as they spawn here on Dragon Scale and ASL map. And we of course are looking at the build orders. Let's see if there's going to be a difference in between the build orders. So OLIVEIRA opening up here pretty standardly with supply depot, barracks, gas, and the same can be said here for MARU. However, MARU already having here his second gas up, but yeah, the same for OLIVEIRA. So pretty much the same build orders for both players. Let's have a look who is going to be first aggressive, what exactly their unit composition is going to be. Are they going for some medivacs, for some bio, perhaps for some mech, as MARU and OLIVEIRA are currently now just moving out, just scouting the map. So very interesting engagement here. Of course, the grand finals. Really interesting stuff here, and it looks like Reaper it is going to be. Perhaps they will continue with a factory into Hellions, with a starport into those medivacs really soon. Yeah, MARU sees the barracks, he doesn't see the factory though. Let's have a look at the SCV from OLIVEIRA. Also very likely saw the barracks, and yeah, there's that factory. So like I told you, pretty much the same stuff here for both players. It's going to be, of course, a very defensive gameplay, Terran versus Terran. We might see some siege tanks. Of course, it's really hard to attack towards siege tanks on the high ground, so you really have to be abusive. You really have to add some medivacs, perhaps some battle cruisers later on. It would be very interesting to see. Some ghosts would also be nice to be seen. Raven, of course, are much being used, as are those Vikings in the air, just to counter the ravens. So yeah, there's the expansion for MARU, expansion for OLIVEIRA here. Pretty much same stuff here. Factory is also up. First Hellions are being produced. You can of course see the production tab here in the upper left part, just in case I'm missing something. So yeah, double Reaper for MARU. He might be the first here to attack really soon. Let's have a look at OLIVEIRA really quick. He's also adding some Reapers, so those players are defending their ramps here. OLIVEIRA is expecting, of course, an attack here. Didn't add a supply depot. MARU, on the other hand, he did add a supply depot just to have vision into this location. But yeah, still no major attack yet. Both players are playing really safe. We are closing in towards the 5-minute mark. More and more units are being added, and we actually have double Hellions with some Reapers. So MARU could try an attempt here, perhaps, to attack really soon with those Hellions. I guess it's just waiting for the expansion from OLIVEIRA to finish, so that many workers will be added. Let's check OLIVEIRA really quick. 3 Reapers, 1 Hellion. Starport is also being produced, and the add-on, the reactor for the barracks. Starport already finished here for MARU, and we have a medivac for him. Let's see if OLIVEIRA is also going for a medivac. Nothing yet being produced. Perhaps he's waiting for a tech lab, so he might go for some ravens. We have a cyclone for defensive purposes, and MARU already scouting out the map for some Roxy starports perhaps, but yeah, he doesn't of course find everything. So yeah, OLIVEIRA also adding a nice mine here onto this ramp. Really good stuff by him. Let's have a look what exactly is producing out of this. Starport is of course a raven. No upgrades yet, and look at that, around the 4-minute mark MARU decides to move out with his medivac loaded up with a tank and 4 marines. We also have the 4 Reapers here, the 2 Hellions, so this looks like a nice attack by MARU, and he's going to choose this position here. However, OLIVEIRA very close by with his cyclones with those Reapers, but in comes the attack. The Reapers will jump over. Nice micro here by MARU, as the siege tank will of course siege up really nicely here. And yeah, the first sorry, the first shots are being fired here. OLIVEIRA also having a tank, so this looks like should be a good hold here for OLIVEIRA. He's adding a auto turret, and he's attacking actually here into MARU. MARU holds his ground, and a huge blunder here from Oliveira, if you ask me. I don't think he should have attacked here, but in the end he actually gives a huge opportunity here for MARU to take this game. So MARU siege tank was of course sieged up. Oliveira had to end siege, and now the SCVs are just being pulled, and really bad situation here for Oliveira, as he's going to take so much economic damage, and still some infantry is being left alive for MARU. So quite a disastrous first game here for Oliveira, as MARU is still moving around with his infantry. He might even try to snipe more workers. And yeah, more and more of those infantry for MARU is being brought forward. The medivac was quite a great addition here for MARU, so really nice stuff by him. And now he's even sniping worker after worker, so really nicely done by MARU. In the end, the infantry is going to very likely fall, but yeah, the economic damage has already been done. Oliveira falling to 26 workers, 43 for MARU, so very nice game, and a huge blunder if you ask me for Oliveira, but it happens of course. Let's just jump straight into game number 2. And we're back with game number 2. Oliveira, sadly for him, big mistake. He decided to attack with that Raven, with auto turret, and unsieging his siege tank. MARU just holding his ground and of course being able to counter. It was like a meat grinder. Oliveira just walking inside the meat grinder, MARU's meat grinder there, and a really aggressive move out by MARU around the 4-minute mark, giving him the victory. Now we have game number 2 on Gracevan in the lower right. Once again from China, it is Oliveira aka Time and his opponent here MARU, currently leading 1-0. Please ignore this score. So 1-0 for MARU it is versus Oliveira. Let's see what they will. Hold on. MARU actually decides to proxy here Oliveira, so I guess he just wants to finish the series as fast as possible. Of course he's feeling very confident after game number 1. Around the 6-minute game he just took it, sadly for Oliveira, with a mistake. So Oliveira might try something different here, but let's see how he's going to handle this proxy barracks attack with some soon to be Reapers. He might also add some bunkers with some Marines. It could be a possibility, but it will very likely be Reapers really soon. And yeah, let's look at Oliveira real quick. Double gas for him, 1 gas only for MARU. Let's check, he's also having his 1 barracks being finished really soon, and the double barracks are of course going to get finished, and it is indeed Reaper. So Reaper rush for MARU versus his opponent. And yeah, let's see, we have a reactor here for Oliveira. No units are yet being produced by him. He might go into double Marines really soon, or perhaps Reaper as well, but he really has to hurry up because the Reapers from MARU are about to get finished here, so the attack is going to be quite strong. I guess MARU is going to wait for 4 Reapers and then head straight towards the economy from Oliveira. Let's check the main. Second gas has been added. There's the first Reaper. Don't think he's going to show him yet. Let's have a look at Oliveira really quick. 1 Reaper is being produced and a factory. The factory could be his saving grace with some Hellions, but I don't think he has enough time. Those Reapers are very close by, and soon it's going to be 3 Reapers more getting produced. And yeah, MARU decides to pretty much attack now. So look if he's going to be successful. The factory is about to get finished. Double Reaper for Oliveira here as well. 1 SCV immediately getting sniped. The gas SCV also really important, also getting sniped. So MARU already with some good pickups here, snapping 3 SCVs, so hurting the economy from Oliveira. And the SCV has had to be pulled as well, and now Oliveira finally understands that it is indeed a proxy attack by MARU, and MARU quite dealing some great damage here. 5 SCVs have been killed. Those SCVs are not mining. Finally the Hellion is out, and with this I believe the rush is pretty much finished, because the Hellion of course deals so much splash damage. So as soon as MARU sees the Hellion, he's deciding to retreat. Perhaps he's just going to heal up a little bit and try to go for a different position. Second Hellion is also out really soon. MARU just kiting around, and once again 1 SCV is getting sniped. So very aggressive strategy here by MARU. I really like that from him. But in the end 2 Hellions should be able to hold the upcoming attacks. And yeah, the damage is really enormous here by those Hellions. 1 Reaper might fall really soon. The grenades are really strong, just picking those units, just exploding them back here. So nice micro here by MARU, really nicely done by him. He's just only to build more Reapers, I believe, or is he perhaps going to cancel them and then just upfloat those barracks? Let's have a look. I believe he's going to decide to take them out, and yes indeed, just to have enough for a defense against those Hellions. So Oliveira could be now aggressive. He has 3 Hellions. Those 3 Hellions will of course be devastating against the Reapers here from MARU, so MARU has to be careful. He needs that factory, there it is, and immediately he goes for a Cyclone, of course, just to counter a attack by Hellions. And yeah, there's this one barrack giving vision, so 4 Hellions already here for Oliveira. He might try a counter really soon, but the Cyclone is going to be very important. Perhaps MARU is going to hide it here in the upper part of the map really soon. See, the barrack still gives vision. Starport is also finished. And yeah, Oliveira just deciding to defend a little bit, perhaps just massing more and more units. Same can be said here for MARU, making a nice beeline. The expansion, however, is already up for Oliveira, and he's also nicely catching up with the workers. Yeah, MARU all of a sudden into a defensive position. A nice early aggressive move out by him, but in the end Oliveira is going to catch up. Now he does have a medivac. Let's see what this medivac is going to be doing, but really risky now. MARU has no more defenses here into his expansion point. Only the one Cyclone, and both players decide to move out with their medivacs. However, much stronger of an army here for Oliveira. Yes, 28 of a supply. So let's see, in comes the medivac from MARU, but the same can be said here for Oliveira. Really strong push by him with the medivac, with the tanks, with the marines. And yeah, now finally the SCV sees this, but it's just Reapers for MARU versus this huge army. He has to uplift the base, he has to pull out the SCVs, and now the Cyclones will have to be microed really nicely. There is also a tank out, so he might have a chance. In the meantime, the Reapers here also dealing damage towards those SCVs, so you can see of course the production type, the SCV count here. Those players are suffering, of course, are taking damage. And yes, there are still the 2 Cyclones are being left alive, but I don't see the tank, so I believe Oliveira was able to snap this one tank. However, the Cyclones, they're nicely being microed. They can deal, of course, so much more damage to Reapers. Have been now fighting back with those Marines, and sadly here for MARU has lost the medivac as well, so things all of a sudden look really good for MARU. Sorry for Oliveira, but we do have a Banshee. But Banshee without cloak, the Marines should be able to take care of this. Still the Cyclones are being left alive, but this one tank proving to be a hero tank, and yes indeed, Oliveira is going to take game number 2, so we have a 1-1 draw. So sadly for MARU, his early abusement didn't work out. Oliveira came back really strong with a nice drop with the Hellions, with the Marines and Reapers. Yeah, 1-1 it is. Let's just jump straight into game number 3. And I'm back with game number 3. In between them, 1-1 is the score, of course. Please ignore this, I still have no idea how to fix this, but yeah, it's 1-1. Oliveira with a nice comeback in game number 2, punishing MARU with an early proxy strategy. And yeah, the punishment was really strong with the medivac, with the tank, especially that hero tank of him, and MARU with those 2 Cyclones still fighting nice, still microing them really nicely. But in the end, Oliveira just had too much. His counter with the Reapers did deal some economic damage, but Oliveira taking care of that with some Marines. So 1-1 it is. We are spawning on Neo Humanity, the new humanity here onto this map. As yeah, we have an all Terran engagement here in the grand finals of Katowice. There's the barracks gas, and it looks like pretty much the same build order for both of them. So it looks like MARU also playing it now very standardly, no more proxy stuff. Let's have a look what they will be going. It would be really nice to see them finally go for some mech, for some mass Cyclones with some tanks, with some Ravens, of course, Vikings, battle cruisers would also be really nice, and some nukes might be also a nice addition here. But yeah, currently they're just scouting the map. This time Oliveira actually being the first one to scout really early here around the 1 minute mark. He already is sending out the SCV, but he might also try to hide a factory on the map. He might try to hide a starport on the map. Let's see if this is going to be his idea. Factory not yet being finished, so yeah, no starport is being possible. But it looks like he just wants to scout the map, sees the SCV, so he's going to deny this expansion as much as possible. Might even try to build a engineering bay here, just like in Starcraft Broodwar, just to yeah buy as much time as possible. And you can see on the minimap he's already building here the command center, while MARU's command center is pretty much being delayed, and MARU all of a sudden decides to, oh okay, he just built it here on the high ground. So really smart. stuff by one of the strongest, if not the best Terran player in the world. Yeah, very smart gameplay by him. He's just going to uplift it and downlift it there, so great stuff. Factory is being produced. The factory from MARU much faster here than the factory from Oliveira, but yeah, in the end the distance is of course also important. So let's see what they will be doing. Might be once again Reapers with Hellions, could also be a change. We might see a surprise with some benches in the air. We actually see a bunker from Oliveira, so he's expecting quite an early aggression, or he's just going straight for those Marines without Reapers. This might be his idea. He's going for a reactor. Factory is about to get finished, and the expansion for both players are also going to be finished really soon. And this is a starport for MARU. No starport yet, at least I don't see a starport here for Oliveira. You can see the production tab here, just in case I'm missing something. You might even let me know in the comment section below. So yeah, there is the starport from Oliveira as well. So the pretty standard stuff this time. 1-1 it is, of course. Both players are just playing very safe. However, we do see a mine being produced for MARU, so this mine could also be used defensively, but at the same time, if he adds a medevac or two, we might see him go for a drop harassment against Oliveira. Same time in comes a Reaper. Let's see what's the idea from MARU. I guess he just wants to scout the main. Yes indeed, he's just going for a scouting mission here. He's going to sacrifice this one Reaper. Throws in a grenade, but yeah, in the end he just wanted to see what buildings Oliveira has, and he knows now exactly that pretty much the same build order as well as his, and he's going for a Cyclone here. Let's have a look. There's a Raven being built by Oliveira, and we see the first move out here by MARU with a mine, 1 Hellion and 4 Marines. I guess he just scouted the map. He's going for very likely this position to drop. The medevac is closing here, slowly but steadily forward. So around the 4-minute mark, MARU decides to be aggressive. There is a bunker here. There is a nice wall of what I believe MARU just sent out his first Reaper just to have vision and to see where the attack is going to happen. But we do have 2 Marines here, so the Marines will be able to intercept this one medevac really soon. MARU finding a nice position. It's going straight, so Oliveira still didn't scout this, so this could be really deadly. The one mine might deal so much damage with a Hellion, but the first SCV are being saved. Nice micro here for Oliveira, and yeah, MARU just nicely kiting those units, just nicely healing them, but Oliveira taking out the medevac, adding even a auto turret here, and in the end I believe just one, if not only one SCV has been sniped. Some damage has been taken by the SCVs, but in the end Oliveira nicely holding off this first attempt by MARU just to inflict damage towards the economy. Is also adding more barracks. There is the command center and another command center here for MARU. So the first attempt is being held off by Oliveira. Oliveira with a good micro here with those SCVs, and now he's adding engineering bay just to have those upgrades for the Marines. So it's going very strongly into those Marines. Let's just check MARU also having some Marines. Tank is out, Cyclone is just patrolling, so all of a sudden we have turned into more defensive gameplay here for both players. So both players are pretty much focusing now on their macro orientated game. And yeah, let's see who, if MARU is once again going to be trying to be aggressive. You can see the work count pretty much the same. Oliveira, however, having more and more of an army, of course, after intercepting the first wave of attack from MARU. Now MARU actually has to play it much more defensively with those tanks. And yeah, both players just expanding at around the 6-minute mark here. So yeah, defensive position, of course, we know this from Terrans versus Terrans, as we see one Cyclone move out. Steam is about to get finished for Oliveira. Lots and lots of upgrades, of course, for both players. And yeah, SCVs are being transferred. Siege tanks are sieging up. The same can be said here for Oliveira really soon. He's however only having one siege tank. Perhaps another siege tank is here in the back. Yes indeed, just to give cover for the other expansion. I guess this is going to be the plan. Both players are going to try to perhaps harass each other with some medivacs, with some small groups of an infantry, perhaps add a Hellion or a tank or even a Cyclone, you know, just look for a weakest spot for the enemy, just to fly that medivac over, and yeah, just to inflict as much damage as possible, perhaps even take out a tech lab or a reactor. But yeah, it's very hard. So let's see who is going to attack first. Perhaps the newly established expansion points will also be a attacking position, but then again there are siege tanks on the ground. Oliveira is moving out with his infantry, with 2 tanks, 1 medivac, Raven in the air. Raven could of course take out the tanks, just disable the tanks, but we also have a sensor tower here for MARU. So MARU is expecting an attack here. He's bringing his infantry. The tanks are nicely put into place, but he's just changing the position now. He's actually deciding to retreat here, so MARU is really vulnerable here as in comes the stim here forward for Oliveira, and sadly here for MARU his siege tanks are in siege depth, so that was perhaps a very scary move here for MARU from pulling those SCVs. Now at the same time we have an attack here with an infantry, so both players are attacking at the same time. But yeah, Oliveira pretty much taking this position now, having a very good position towards MARU and already sniping 25 SCVs here. So MARU sensing the danger is coming, but he decided to unsiege those tanks. I don't know about that. Perhaps it was a mistake by him, but then again I'm sure he knows exactly what he's doing. Same time his infantry, however, dealing massive amounts of economic damage here. 25 workers also being killed. However, the position is much better here for Oliveira. His tanks, his infantry are in the front. There's 3 siege tanks for him, as he's just inflicting more and more damage. While MARU, sadly for him, he has lost now the infantry. 33 workers have been killed, however, against Oliveira. And yet now MARU just has to be careful against those tanks. Let's have a look at the worker count. Pretty much the same worker count though, but army-wise, look at that, Oliveira having the advantage. And yes, slowly but steadily the siege is continuing. MARU really has to either repair or uplift. Actually uplifting, and sadly for him the SCVs are going to take more and more damage. This one medivac giving good vision, of course this medivac could uplift the SCVs. And now MARU is actually forced into a 1 base strategy versus a 3 base Oliveira here. So Oliveira, feeling that he has the advantage now, is deciding to pull back a little bit, or perhaps she just wants to intercept those medivacs. Does he have enough defenses at home? Yes indeed, he does have some marines here, so he could stay into this position. And yeah, even this one marine just giving vision here. So let's have a look if this drop is going to make something happen here for MARU. Is he going to be able to take out some units? Getting straight towards the main, not that many defenses here, but Oliveira could stim up with his marine. There comes the drop, a good position here for MARU with the marines in the back. A nice kiting here for Oliveira, moving forward, going for the medivacs, really smart. Even has to pull the SCVs, but yeah, one medivac is in the end getting sniped as MARU once again has to retreat, but the siege continues here. We do however have a Liberator in the air for MARU, and this one Liberator looking really strong. Nice micro here however by the Chinese player, and he's able to take out the first reactor. So slowly but steadily the production buildings are being attacked by Oliveira, but this one Liberator still into the zone. The marines might try to take it out. One tank might fall really soon. And yet the Liberator, great value here for MARU and the marines on the high ground, also being able to clear this out slowly but steadily. So all of a sudden MARU slowly coming back into this game. Liberator, great addition. However, army-wise, still Oliveira on the having more of a supply here versus his opponent. MARU decides to move out. He is more confident. Same can be said here for Oliveira. Both players have siege. Shields being upgraded. Upgrade-wise, we also should have 1-1 really soon done. And yeah, Oliveira now goes once again for this one position for the new expansion, as MARU is going to try to attack the expansion over here. No tanks here for Oliveira, but let's have a look. Moving forward, he's steaming forward, and with the command center immediately getting taken out. Some SCVs might get taken out here. Let's see if MARU is going to be successful. He has 2 tanks. The command center also taking quite some damage. At the same time, we see lots and lots of SCVs have fallen here for MARU, and SCVs once again, so quite a good defense by him. But in the end, SCVs are also being pulled here for Oliveira, so both players all losing SCVs left and right. But yeah, in the end, the game goes to... And I'm back with game number 4. Currently Oliveira leading the series with 2-1 versus MARU, as he's spawning here in the low right as the blue Terran. MARU being led 2-1. He's spawning here in the upper left as the red Terran. So yeah, MARU really has to make something out, or else he will lose the grand final here from Katowice. This is game number 4. Oliveira with a great game number 3, coming back really nicely with a great counter against MARU. MARU tried to hurt his economy, but in the end Oliveira with a nice calculated attack being able to take that game. So 2-1 it is for China versus South Korea, now respawning here on Babylon. Let's see if anything difference is going to happen here. Of course it's a mirror matchup, it's really hard for me at least to cast, but yeah, I'm going to try my best. A mirror matchup indeed. The only thing there is going to be a difference very likely is of course in the early game in the build order, but we pretty much once again see the same build order, so this is exactly why it is so hard to cast. But yeah, I believe I'm doing my best here. So let's see. Like I told you, MARU being led, he really has to win this game. If he's not winning, he is out of the tournament and the championship is going to be going for China here. Nice new player here, great prodigy. Really happy to see that China also has now a great player after Europe with SERRAL, with Rainer, South Korea of course with so many pro players, MARU, Hero, just to name a few. And yeah, let's see how things will unfold now. What exactly is going to happen? Reaper it is for both players, so no more Marines early on. Reaper it is indeed, just to play it more safe. Factory for Oliveira, factory for MARU. So yeah, we have the pretty much same build order. You can see it also here in the upper left part. It's going to be interesting to see how things will unfold, how the middle game will unfold, as we also have some interesting dancing cat. I believe they are being costumed in something else, so quite interesting map here we have. It also reminds me of Star Wars a little bit, as those creatures are just dancing here around a fireplace. Yeah, quite nice and beautiful map here we have, as the Reapers are just pretty much going to scout the map and perhaps just going to try to inflict some damage towards their enemy. And he sees, no, actually this is the Reaper from Oliveira, so we have the fast expansion for him, fast expansion for MARU here as well. So MARU of course has to play it really safe. He is being led, so he really has to win this game. Reactor is also being placed onto this one barrack, but he might switch the factory, might even switch the starport towards it. Helen is out, Helen is here as well out, so same thing for both players, as some scouting supply depots are also being added. We have a starport, and yeah, very soon one of the players indeed is very likely to be going for that one medivac for the first harassment. So we have the reaction immediately by Oliveira. He's going for a cyclone. Let's see if MARU is also going for a cyclone. No, he's actually going for a tank though, so this might indicate to us that he's going to be aggressive early on. He might add a medivac, yes indeed. So he is going to be the aggressor if you ask me. He's going to add some medivacs. Actually one medivac would be enough, with some Marines, tank, and he's very likely going for an attack. Like in game number 1, I believe it was around the 4-minute mark that worked out really well for him. So the medivac with some Marines, with a tank and support will be these units heading straight either towards the main or the expansion point. At the same time actually Oliveira went out on the map. He wants to have as much vision as possible. There's the medivac move out. So the 3-minute 50-second mark is the move out point for the Terran for MARU, and Oliveira now sees this. He could counter it with the Reapers, but he's deciding to move back home. Oh, actually he's deciding to move towards the base from MARU. MARU should have some defenses here at home. He has actually a double Viking, so he's also expecting a drop. But yeah, in come those Reapers, and yeah, no defenses here. Let's see what MARU is going to be doing here. His tank already taking quite some damage. The medivac has been taken out, so quite a disastrous attack here. Still, 5 SCVs are falling for MARU at home, and Oliveira is nicely holding this position. At the same time, the Reapers have been killed, but Oliveira with a much better early game here. 7 SCVs have been killed here for MARU. So yeah, let's have a look. Actually, MARU once again on the attack. He has not that much of an army here, being left Oliveira with higher army count. But hold on, this actually could not be the last game. Might be a best of 5 here, a best of 7. So sorry about this one. This would be, of course, indeed not be the elimination final match here for MARU, because I believe he's really far behind. He's actually going for an expansion. This could be his save if the game goes really late. Now Oliveira, of course, with a great defense, he took out the medivac. MARU really having a very bad early game here. So he has to stay back with his army. 21 supply versus 26. Much more workers here for Oliveira. And perhaps Oliveira is going to try to attack really soon. He even has a Raven out, so Cyclone also did a great job versus the Medivac. Nice stuff here by him. Of course, MARU wanted to be aggressive. He wanted to finish this game just to head straight towards the final match, but yeah, Oliveira with a great defense. However, we've seen MARU come back in many games. Impossible comebacks here for him, so let's have a look if this is going to be the situation here as well, as he's also adding some Vikings just to snipe the Medivacs in the air or the Ravens, and Oliveira actually decides to move out here. Is MARU going to have enough? How many tanks does he have? 2 tanks, 1 Cyclone, some Marines and some Vikings in the air. 1 Marine is going to be taken out, but MARU's siege tank has to unsiege, he has to retreat, he has to find more reinforcements. This could be a disable against this 1 tank with this 1 Raven. Let's see what's going to happen. 1 tank already being finished here by Oliveira, so an important unit has been lost. Some auto turrets actually are being chosen here by the Raven. The SCVs have to be pulled, and yeah, 1 tank is being disabled, but it looks like going to be enough here for Oliveira. He even lands his Vikings, and yes indeed, it is indeed going to be the win for him, so sorry about this. And I'm back with game number 5 in between the 2 pro players. Currently Oliveira, however, leading the series 3-1, very surprisingly here, versus MARU, as he's spawning here in the upper right part as the blue Terran. His opponent MARU in the lower left as the red Terran. A quite big map, as you can see here, for spawning location. I believe it is Ancient System, quite an interesting name, Cisterns actually here for a map. So 3-1 it is here for Oliveira. If he takes this game, he's winning IEM Katowice, so it is a best of 7. And yeah, let's see what's going to happen here. Once again, the build order really important. Looks like pretty much the same build order here. MARU really has to come back into the series, so yeah, like I told you, if he's losing, he's out of the tournament, and Oliveira is going to be your world champion from China. Let's see if he's going to make it here, but still a long road to go. As you can see from the timer, there's still around 25 to 30 minutes here to go, so we're about to find out what is going to happen here into this game number 5 in between them. MARU perhaps is going to play it a little bit more defensively. He tried to be aggressive just like in game number 1. Sadly for him it didn't work out, and Oliveira came back really strong into that game number 3 after holding off the attack, sniping the Medivac from MARU. Yeah, such a hard series here for MARU, but then again, this is the grand final, so of course it's going to be hard. Pretty much the same timer here for both SCVs meeting here in the middle of the map. Scouting, of course, it's really important to scout your opponent, not only in a mirror game but also in a quite particular normal game. So yeah, the SCV comes in, sees the barracks, is going to scout perhaps for a factory. No, just retreating. Same can be said here for the SCV from MARU, who is also scouting the expansion. So we have a difference already into the build order. Oliveira going for a fast expand, MARU actually deciding to go for a factory. So let's see if this is going to work out. Perhaps once again he's going to be trying to be aggressive, going to try to make his game with the Medivac, with the tank, with the infantry. Let's see if this is going to work out. Still no expansion for him, as Oliveira's expansion is almost halfway being done. So Oliveira is expecting a attack here. Of course, he's placing a bunker. His expansion is almost now being really soon done. So yeah, he's going for that macro game. He's going for a late game build order here. Finally, there is a factory, and now MARU decides to add his expansion. Is he also going for a starport? Yes, indeed, there's the starport. So expansion first into starport. Hellions are also being produced. I believe as soon as the factory from Oliveira is going to finish, he is of course going to be also going for those Hellions. Double gas for him, double gas of course for MARU as well. MARU also doing a nice touch here, adding those supply depots early out just to see if in case a Reaper is coming, and also to have vision against those Medivacs if they arrive. So quite smart gameplay here by him. Let's see, Oliveira not really adding any supply depots here. I believe he's feeling really confident, and yeah, leaving one SCV actually here into this bunker, so no Marines. And yeah, some Reapers are just trying to move here forward by MARU, but just one Reaper, one Hellion Let's see his main. Yes, indeed, he's pretty much going for the same build order, medivac into tank, into some marines. So once again, I believe he's going to try to do a dropship harassment. We've seen this around the 4-minute mark, and at the same time he's going to have the support from the Hellion for the Reaper. Let's have a look if this is going to be his decision. I believe the answer from Oliveira once again is going to be a Cyclone. No, he's also going for a tank and a Viking, interestingly enough, so he could intercept this one. Move out from MARU. MARU is moving forward. There's the Hellion in the front. Reaper is also here, so he's also at the same time scouting the map, freeing the way for the medivac, which is soon to arrive. Bunker is there, but it's just finally one Marino, and he's going to be able to attack the siege tank. However, he's already sieged up. The Reaper is immediately getting sniped. MARU has to be careful. The Viking is right on time here for Oliveira, as some shots will be taken by the medivac. But yeah, MARU this time decides to play it much more safer. He's deciding to pull back and just land the units here. So really great defense by Oliveira. His expansion is also early out. Army wise pretty much the same. SCV wise also pretty much the same. As the siege continues here, I believe MARU is going to try to attack now the bunker, which is being salvaged. We also have a Artosilope here, so quite an interesting name for a creature. But there's 2 tanks. I almost read Artosis here, so yeah, there's 2 tanks for Oliveira. And the MARU decides to pull back. Of course, it's really hard to engage here against 2 tanks. Perhaps just with 1 medivac, but there is this 1 Viking for Oliveira out, so no attack from MARU. Hold on, he's actually just moving out with 1 Hellion. I believe he's going to try his luck here. Maybe he's going to be able to snipe some SCVs. It's just 1 Hellion. But yeah, Oliveira is straight into the nice position, and he's going to immediately take out that. So yeah, nice shot by Oliveira. Sinks will now settle down. Both players are pretty much going to focus onto their macro game, but as I said, it's actually Oliveira is now feeling confident to move out. He has this 1 Raven in the air, he has 1 Viking, and the Cyclone now gives vision for MARU, but MARU should have his siege tanks at home sieged up really soon. Let's have a look at the production tab. Steam is going out and so on. You can see, of course, everything here in the production tab. If you want to compare the timer with the production tab, it's right here. Now the middle of the map pretty much in control for Oliveira as he's moving out. Cyclone with a nice shot here against this 1 Marine. Oliveira takes quite some time here to move out. He's deciding to go for this location, but MARU waits for him with 3 tanks, so he should be able to hold. And there's a Tastel up here, so quite interesting. Artosis and Tastelos here to this map. Yeah, let's see how things will unfold. Oliveira tries to find, of course, a better position. Tries to move out. Perhaps some turrets are going to be thrown, or perhaps some disables are going to be used here by Oliveira. 3 tanks for MARU, 4 actually here for Oliveira, so this is why it's just moving out. Now we have the old Terran fight here. Both players are scanning each other. The tanks will be either in range or not in range, so it's very hard to attack, of course. Pretty easy to defend. MARU is creating a nice beeline, but his expansion is already taking some damage. However, 1 Raven also taking some damage. I believe Oliveira is going to try to move here forward. Really risky to walk here forward towards those tanks. 1 siege tank was already getting sniped. The SCVs are being pulled. 1 disabled tank here, so Oliveira quite a bad move here by him, getting punished pretty much by MARU, but at the same time MARU has lost 10 SCVs, so it's also really important. 1 tank might get sniped here. The Vikings have landed by Oliveira. 1 tank is still shooting here, so in the end it looks like a fair trade. Nice micro here. However, with those 2 medivacs, the advantage is, of course, here for MARU, but so he has more army, but at the same time he did lose 10 SCVs. However, he should be able to recover. In the end, a pretty fair trade. However, with more losses from Oliveira, he decided to unsiege and just straight move forward towards the siege tanks from MARU. MARU also disabling 1 tank from Oliveira, so yeah, quite a small failure here by Oliveira, but in the end, if you look at the worker count, at the army count, it looks like he's going to recover really soon as we're closing in towards the 10-minute mark here. So now all of a sudden MARU decides to move out, heading towards the expansion point from Oliveira. Let's see if he's going to be successful. Army wise, he has a smaller advantage, but will it be enough? We're about to find out as he's moving now forward. There is some infantry for Oliveira. MARU is nicely scanning this area. He might get a good flank here against the infantry, he might get good flank against the tanks, but let's have a look. The bunker is being actually attacked, but the infantry are already taking quite some damage. All of a sudden a better position here for Oliveira as the medivacs are getting sniped by 4 Vikings in the air. And yeah, MARU has to find a better position. He's going for the gas from Oliveira. He snipes some SCVs, but in the end he has to regroup. He has to find new reinforcements here as they're pouring now forward. And yeah, the Vikings once again really important for Oliveira, as he could be able to snap this one tank at the same time losing some of the infantry, losing one Viking, but in the end there are tanks in the back here for Oliveira to secure the zone. So yeah, quite a interesting game here for them. Let's see, I believe Oliveira has the defense here really nicely set up, and it's quite hard here for MARU. I believe he's going to try perhaps a dropship harassment really soon. He has 2 dropships. The forces from Oliveira are pretty much clumped up together here, so it's going to take quite some time for them to move back into the production tab. So this is of course the important buildings, the production buildings here for Oliveira and for any Terran, as now MARU actually decides to move forward for this one expansion. The infantry already taking quite some damage. Viking has to be landed. The infantry versus tanks, not such a good idea, as so much is going to get lost here for MARU. In the end he was able to snap some of those SCVs, but hold on, he still has those tanks in the back, and this one command center could be cancelled. At the same time we have a drop attempt here for Oliveira, who's going to be able to snap 7 SCVs as well, also snap some Marines, but hold on, so many SCVs are now in the front for MARU. He has to pull the boys. But yeah, 16 SCVs now getting lost, so Oliveira doing quite some economic damage with this medivac, with the Marines, and as he's finding a better position. So worker wise it's pretty good, looking really good for Oliveira. 7 more workers versus MARU, still however very balanced. And yeah, let's see, we might once again go into a more defensive position for both players. Really hard to attack, of course, Terran versus Terran, especially against those siege tanks. And yeah, we have passed the 10-minute mark, so it looks like it's going for a late game here in between the 2 pros. Some weapons are getting finished here, weapons too for the infantry and the vehicles. You can see of course the upgrades here, you also see the production tab here. And yeah, once again I believe Oliveira is going to stick to this strategy, medivacs with the infantry, inflicting quite some damage against the economy from MARU. And the newly established expansion point here is very likely going to get targeted really soon. We have some spreader tanks, in come the Marines, good scan, but there is a planetary fortress. At the same time MARU tries the same thing, also with massive amounts of medivacs with Marines. Yeah, so both players, nice timing here to attack. Looks like still Marines and medivacs, it is going to be the answer for both of them, just leaving those tanks in the back just to be defensively. So let's see, still Marines already taking quite some damage. The Vikings could shoot down the medivacs, so a small advantage here for MARU as he has a much better position to go for a pincer attack. The siege things now will be like a siege up for both players. Oliveira tries of course to take out quite few of them, but now the tanks will take care of the infantry from Oliveira. MARU nicely microing his Marines back, but both players taking quite some casualties here of course. And yeah, once again on the regroup, perhaps they will try to attack at 2 different positions at one with medivacs. It would be a possibility, just like in this scenario. One medivac with some infantry would have been really deadly. Of course this is why Oliveira leaves a tank here. I believe this should also be defended, but there is of course a planetary here for MARU. And yeah, MARU once again on the move out, repairs his tanks, and I believe this is what we're going to be seeing in the rest of the game. Medivacs with Marines, with tanks, and who is going to have a better position, who is going to try to attack first. Some move out with some hurt medivacs, so Oliveira has to be really careful with this infantry as he's now moving out. But huge amount of an army here for MARU. I believe he's pretty much throwing everything he has towards the newly established expansion point, and if he's lucky he's going to even be able to take out those Marines here. So let's have a look if this is going to work out. The first tanks already attacking the Marines. So many tanks here for MARU are sieging up, inflicting damage left and right. The Vikings really want to take out the medivacs in the air. At the same time a small group here of Marines will be able to take out some of these units, but the real action is of course happening here as the siege tanks are now going for the economy here from Oliveira. So Oliveira taking away some damage, a great drop here by him with those medivacs, with the marines, but the siege tanks somehow are still alive here. However, in the end the marines will be able to take care of that. So once again we are turning back into a retreat, into a regroup for MARU. MARU being much more present onto the map, much more aggressive, but yeah, Oliveira nicely defending here, and yeah, being able to snipe some of the army. In the end, MARU still has no more army supply than his opponent, and also one more worker, as he was able to snap quite a large number of SCVs here into this location. Now all of a sudden Oliveira tries to pull out with the SCVs, sorry, with the army here, and yeah, the Vikings are also in the air, 6 of them, could be a good flank. MARU now being scanned, he has to find a good position for his siege tanks on the high ground. So yeah, both players of course once again scanning each other, wanting to know what is going to happen, when an attack is going to happen. At the same time, MARU even adding more and more of those command centers here, so let's see. He also knows that this game is going very late, so he wants to have the economic damages, economic advantages. Of course, a very big map, it's really hard to finish the game really fast, so still the defenses are up here for Oliveira. MARU tries to find a good position, but yeah, he's immediately getting scanned, his infantry. Perhaps he's going to try to attack once again a newly established base, but Oliveira on the chase for the defense, moving here forward. Also long distance mining, we have the marines in the front, the siege tanks aren't sieged up yet, now slowly but steadily, but the tanks from MARU here, luckily here for him, are able to take out 2 tanks. And yeah, the siege might continue here, or MARU is just going to do a chasing game here, just moving up and down, so just keeps Oliveira guessing where exactly he is going. So now we are about to find out what is going to happen. Such a large number of an infantry here for MARU, but the siege tanks are of course here into this location. It's the newly established base. He's even adding some turrets against the Vikings, against the medivacs. At the same time, MARU takes expansion after expansion onto the maps. He has so many command centers, and now he might try a dropship harassment really soon into this location. So let's see if this is going to work out for him as he's moving forward with his medivacs, landing those marines, already taking quite some damage, but now the tanks are pretty much being taken out. But in the end, Oliveira very close by takes out this small group of units, and at the same time MARU is moving out with his marines into a different location, and this is going to force of course Oliveira just to move from the above low. So MARU taking out the important units, the tanks, the Liberator also taking some damage. At the same time he also snapped 2 SCVs here, so yeah, quite an interesting last game we have here. Actually it's game number 5, but we see Oliveira already having a large amount of an army, and upgrade wise both players are pretty much maxed out here, so more workers interesting enough for MARU, and actually he has 12 more workers than his opponent, so this could be an advantage as he can rebuild those units much faster than his opponent. But Oliveira having much more of a supply. However, MARU is catching up slowly but steadily. Yeah, at the same time slowly but steadily we're closing towards the 20-minute mark. It's still anyone's game. Quite an interesting game 5 we have here, a macro oriented game as Oliveira decides to move here forward, and the siege tanks from MARU already ready here, but quite an interesting move here with an expansion that has to be cancelled. And yeah, the siege will continue slowly but steadily, meter after meter. Oliveira is pushing forward with his siege tanks, Vikings in the air, Raven doing an anti-armor rocket here, and now Vikings are just pretty much fighting each other, tanks at the same time holding their ground. And we have a small difference, Oliveira actually having 2 Liberators in the air as he's giving cover towards his tanks, so he really doesn't want to allow MARU to continue his macro game with those massive amounts of expansions. Marines now try to take care of the Vikings. The Vikings now nicely being kited back and forth by both players. Still, however, more Ravens in the air for MARU. Is having 4 Ravens, and the Oliveira tries of course to snap them, but the Marines are very close by to engage. So Yeah, the siege continues slowly but steadily. Oliveira gaining more and more ground now, finding the Vikings from MARU, dealing some good damage against the Liberators. And now in comes the infantry. I believe Oliveira is throwing pretty much everything he has, and armor rocket here as well. The siege tanks have been taking out 6 SCVs as well. So quite a move, good move out here by Oliveira, still having more supply than his opponent and taking out an important expansion here into this location. So this expansion is also pretty much exposed, so Oliveira might try his move out here. We're about to find out if this is indeed going to happen, as the Vikings are still fighting for air dominance. The Marines, however, are steaming up and also dealing some damage, and at the same time Oliveira has to be careful. He's pretty much exposed here into this location. He might get surrounded really soon, but if he's feeling confident, he's moving out. The Vikings could take damage out of those Marines. Sadly here for MARU, paying attention and taking quite some damage. And yeah, now the siege tanks will be able to inflict damage towards this one planetary fortress in the air. Not that many Vikings are being left alive here for MARU, as Oliveira could be very soon surrounded here. So this is what I told you about, guys. It could be a surrounding attempt really soon by MARU. He might lose his expansion, but he could surround the enemy. 18 SCVs, however, has also been lost here by MARU, but in this time he actually has more of an army supply than his opponent. Yeah, siege tanks have been disabled. I believe MARU is preparing a full-on attack here against the smaller group of an army here remained by Oliveira. So Oliveira realizes this as he's now moving back. He's moving out very fast. However, the damage has been done. The economic damage has pretty much been done. And yeah, now he's just trying to inflict more damage with the medivacs. And at the same time, he's pretty much lucky here to find this expansion. It's a planetary fortress, but there are siege tanks, so MARU has to hurry up. Sadly for him, he's going to very likely lose this expansion. But hold on, he's actually repairing. At the same time, there's so much map dominance here for Oliveira as he's moving forward. MARU having more of an army supply, so he could still win this game. There are some siege tanks here left behind for Oliveira, so if MARU tries to go for a base trade scenario, I believe he could have the advantage here. So these units here also pretty much left behind. The 4 tanks here will be able to take care of the expansion, but in the end MARU realizes that 4 tanks are really important as he's moving now out. So once again we have Seeker missiles here against the armor, and at the same time so much disabled here. So MARU moving forward, he's going to be able to take out the tanks. The other tanks are pretty much being forgotten in the lower right part, and now he might even take out more and more of those production buildings, but there are still some siege tanks in the back. As MARU tries to regroup his units, he's going to siege his siege tanks here. At the same time, the Vikings fighting each other for air dominance. What a great game we have here so far in between the two pros. Some Ravens have been sniped here as well, but so many Ravens are still being left alive. Sadly for MARU, he has pretty much lost so many Vikings, even though the armor from the Vikings from Oliveira is being taken out. In the end, 3 Vikings are being left here alive. Perhaps MARU could have added the infantry in the front, but then I'm sure he knows what he's doing. And finally, the 4 tanks are retreating back home, so MARU really has to hurry up. At the same time, Oliveira might try to counter his main with some medivacs with the Marines. So in comes the attack. Marines are finally in the front. Ravens try to inflict damage against the Marines with anti-armor rockets. Siege tanks in the back. Disable is also being used. And we have 2 Liberators once again here for Oliveira, and with this I believe the siege pretty much is going to end here. Of course, siege tanks against Liberators really hard, as Oliveira has regrouped here into this position and he's going to be able to hold his ground. So let's have a look at the army count. Really soon we have 110, actually pretty much the same army for both players. Worker wise we have a small advantage now for Oliveira, so MARU really has to make something happen here really soon as he's moving out, and he might even try to take out this one Liberator. At the same time, Oliveira is also moving out with his units. So let's see, the planetary is pretty much exposed here. It's going to be taken out with the siege tanks, but Oliveira goes straight, I believe, for the main Protoss production buildings. Taking out the medivac is going more and more forward, so very smart gameplay here by him. He knows how important those factories, those barracks at home are for MARU, so MARU realizes this. He has to move back at home just to defend, so Oliveira pretty much all over the place here. Now he's actually using the high ground of the base from MARU versus MARU himself. Great disables, however, here by MARU. Massive amounts of disables, so he's showing us the strength of those Ravens And yeah, tanks versus tanks, but in the end the tanks from Oliveira are disabled. However, there are still those liberators dealing so much damage against the units from Maru. I believe Maru in the end, yes, he's going to be able to take care of this. And if you look at the army wise, still Oliveira having those reinforcements at home, but economic wise, so much has been lost here for Maru. He has to pull those SCVs. 35 SCVs have been killed, and all of a sudden Oliveira having 30 more SCVs. So after all the damage has been done, Oliveira still on a quite a great advantage here against his opponent. At the same time, he's going to be able to take out this expansion. So Maru once again with a very hard game, very hard late game here versus his opponent, as Oliveira is going to be able to take this base. So Maru has to regroup, he has to find a solution here. It was quite a risky move by Oliveira, but his tanks were disabled. However, he did use this one high ledge for his advantage, and even the buildings from Maru worked against him. So quite a very strong move out by him, as the two creatures are now finding each other here onto the map. So let's see how this will unfold slowly but steadily. You can see it from the timer. We're moving towards the end of the game, but it's still anyone's game. We've seen Maru come back very much. There's still so many tanks here on the ground. So yeah, I believe he also has some ravens in the air. They haven't been snapped by some Vikings yet. And the ravens are of course really important, just to disable the tank from your enemy, and such a large number of infantry. But still, we have actually 3 liberators. They're really important for Oliveira here as well, as he's now moving out. And I believe Oliveira is going to try to snap the new expansion. However, great attack here. 3 tanks, 4 tanks, and now even disabling the tanks. So such a great flank here for Oliveira versus his opponent. Lots and lots of damage is happening here. The liberators also damaging the tanks. You also see the Marines engaging, but the tanks from the back from Oliveira aren't being touched, and there it is. It was quite a huge mistake here by Maru, getting the tanks exposed towards the infantry. So yeah, in the end, Maru has to GG out. The Marines actually being able to attack those tanks, that was quite a great move here for Oliveira. Maru perhaps not paying attention, or I don't know what exactly he was doing. The tanks were pretty much exposed here, and yeah, Oliveira just said thank you and just attacked those tanks, taking out the very important units, at the same time having a good position here, and of course taking this series. So nice move by him. Congratulations to him, congratulations to China for taking this grand final. We have a new world champion. He's from China. He's Oliveira, the Terran. So congratulations to him once again. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Tommy signing out.